Hello everyone. I'm back here again. So what I've actually done is I've created a simple component called TicTacToe, and I've imported it inside the app component, which is being displayed right over here. And inside the TicTacToe, the reason why I didn't record this process is I don't want the entire thing to be about CSS because that is not my focus. So I have this CSS. So what you can actually do is you can actually pause the video and then grab this CSS, but we have this CSS which we're actually going to use, for our board and everything. And the most important thing is we have our use state and then our use effects, which I'm actually going to use in a minute. So what I'm going to do is, and please forgive me if you're hearing any noises from my background. My neighborhood is a little bit noisy, so forgive me on that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to declare, for instance, the board. Okay, so the board is going to be an array of 9 empty strings. Okay, so this is going to be the board, and we are going to use the set board method to actually set items to the board. Okay, so I'm going to have like a use state, which is going to go to an array of 9 empty string. Okay, so 9 of it. So this is the fourth one, the fifth one, the sixth one, the seventh one, the eighth one, and finally the ninth one. Okay, so we have the board, and what we're actually going to do is we are going to have a player called, for instance, X. Okay, so that's going to be the first player. So we're going to have player, and then the method set player to actually set the player. Okay, so we're gonna have like use state, and that is going to go to the alphabet, for instance X. Okay, so that's going to be the first player. And we're also going to have, for instance, what I'm going to call the selected index. Okay, so the selected index is just going to be the we're going to use the selected index in a bit, but for now let's declare that. So that is also going to go to 0. Okay, so the selected index is going to be 0 right now. And over here I'm going to apply the CSS that I defined. So this is going to be the app. Is going to go to this external box. So we're going to have style goes to style.app, sorry, and in there we're actually going to have another div which is going to be the board. Okay, so we're going to have style which goes to style.board, sorry, style really style.board. Okay, and inside this board we are actually going to place in our boxes. So what we actually want to do is loop through this board. Okay, so I'm going to come down here and then say constant boxes goes to, and we are going to have the board dot map. Okay, so we are mapping through every item in there. So I'm going to have the item and then the index, and we actually want to return. So what do we want to return? Sorry, what do we want to return? We want to return, I'm going to set this to a React fragment, and I'm going to assign the key to this, which is going to have the index, and I'm going to have a div which I'm going to assign the style of box to it. So style of, sorry, style.box, sorry, like that, right? And what I'm actually going to do for the initial stages, I'm actually going to display the index to explain something to you. Okay, so let's display the index right over here. What we'll be doing further on is to display the item. Okay, so whatever is filled in here is what we're actually going to display. So if it is X, we want to display that. If it is O, we want to display that. But for now we're actually going to display the index. Okay, so let's save this, and then if we check our board, we are supposed to have, whoa, okay, let me make sure this is saved. And yes, I didn't include the boxes, so right over here let me include the boxes. So if I save this and then we go back, there we go, So we have like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So to win a game, one player or a particular player must play and have the same item in a row or column or diagonal. So for instance, if the position 0 is X, to win, we must have X here at position 0, X here at position 1, X here at position 2. That's the way you can win. Or X here at position 0, X here at position 3, and then X here at position, for instance, 6. That is another way to win. Or we can have X here at 0, X here at 4, and then X here at 8. That is another way to win. Or we can have it from 2 to 4 to, for instance, 6. So if we have 3 items in the same row or in the same column or diagonally, then that player wins. Okay, so basically that is what that is all about. So we're actually going to draft our winning pattern from what we have over here. Okay, we're actually going to draft our winning pattern from this. So let's go up here and let's decide, let's call this, for instance, pattern, which is the winning pattern, and this is actually going to be an array. Okay, so what is going to be the first winning pattern? The first winning pattern is actually this. Okay, 0, 1, 2. If we have X across, like that, at position 0, position 1, position 2, that player has won. Okay, so can I even copy that? I don't know. Let me see. So let me paste that in here. This is not looking good, so next time I won't copy. So I'm just gonna have 1 and then, for instance, 2. So this is our first winning pattern. Okay, we are going to have another array again. And what is going to be the next winning pattern? The next winning pattern can be from 0, 3, 6. Okay, so that is our next winning pattern. So we're going to have 0, 3, and then 6. Okay, we are going to have another winning pattern. Actually, we are going to have 8 winning patterns. So we've secured the first one, which is this. We've secured the second one, which is from 0, 3, 6. The next one is going to be, for instance, 0, 4, and then 8. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go through this in a very orderly manner so that you don't get confused. So we have our first one, which is 0, 1, 2. So I'm going to go to the next row, which is going to be 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's do it like that so that we don't get confused. So we'll come back to this 0, 3, 6, but for now let's have 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then the next one is going to be 6, 7, 8. That's going to be our next winning pattern. So let's come back here. Let's have the next winning pattern. Think 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that is for the rows. Okay, so now what we're actually going to look at is the, how do you call it, the columns. So for the column, we are going to have like 0, 3, 6, which we've actually defined over here. So the next column, which is going to be a winning pattern, is 1, 4, 7. So 1, 4, 7. Okay, and then our next winning pattern is actually going to be 2, 5, and then 8. Okay, so our next winning pattern is 2, 5, 8. Let me space this. Okay, now the final two is actually, the diagonal. So we're going to have 0, 4, 8. That is another winning pattern. Okay, so 0, 4, comma 8, and then the final one is going to be 2, 4, 6, if I'm right. So if we go over here, we have 2, then we have 4, and then we have 6. Okay, so now that I've defined our winning pattern, what I'm actually going to do is, instead of us displaying, let's make sure that we actually have like 8 items. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So now that we've defined our winning pattern, what we're actually going to do next is I'm actually going to pause this video. Okay, and I'm also going to replace this with, for instance, index. Okay, and then from there we're actually going to define our on click event. Okay, so when we click on something, what is supposed to happen? So stick around, and then let's continue from there.